Hey, what's going on? Earnestly podcast here, recording on a Wednesday night here in rainy, cloudy, muggy, shitty South Florida. It's been a shitty few days here weather-wise, but whatever. You know, it's summertime. It rains every freaking day. I can't even take the kids to the pool because every time I want to take my boys to the pool, I can't do that because it's raining, you know? So, it's what it is. Earnestly podcast here, of course. I've been really lazy lately. This is the first pod I've done on here in, I think, almost 2 weeks. I think the last show I recorded on this feed, I'm looking back right now on my podcast feed, according to my, which I use my Overcast for my podcast. Last show I published was June 7th. And right now we're entering June 20th. By the time this episode hits the feed, it'll be June 20th. And it's all my fault. To some degree, yeah. Not making time. But I gotta tell you, summertime for me now is tough because you got a 6-year-old, you got a 2-year-old, you got work schedules, you have other priorities. And, I would say that for a long time, I loved recording podcasts, at night. But lately, every time I try to attempt to do one, and I gotta be honest with you, and I announced this on the show a couple of weeks ago, that I'm launching 2 more podcasts, one wrestling podcast, which by the way, I still haven't gotten around to launching that yet, but that should be out next week or so. But my wife and I, Lauren, are going to be doing our own podcast soon also, and we've been wanting to record our pilot and then start putting out episodes in coming weeks, coming days, whatever. And every time we make plans to do that, something comes up where either plans come up, plans change, or the worst part, we fall asleep. It's funny because summertime with my 6-year-old home for the summer, you just finished kindergarten, you start first grade in August. It's a lot more time with him. My 2-year-old still, obviously I got to look after him all the time. So the kids wear me out, man. They wear both of us out. So by the time I get to the night, 9, 10 o'clock at night time, when it's time to go to sleep for the kids, and I can use that last couple hours of the night to do things like this, binge watch shows, maybe go work out downstairs. I have no energy left. I'm not even motivated to do a podcast, and something I'm passionate about. I'm not even motivated to do that anymore. So for the last 2 weeks, honestly, I've really gotten, I won't say lazy, but I have not been as motivated. And the more days you pile up not doing this stuff, it gets worse. Now, obviously, the other show I have, the Unfiltered Pod, which is like, topic-centric stuff, that's easy to do. I can do it on the road. That's 5 minutes, 6 minutes of a quick thought. Not a big deal. But this show here, it's a lot more, as I said, evergreen, of course. But also, this show is, it's a lot more work. It's a lot more labor of love. It's a lot more topic-centric. It's a lot more details. So I treat this show even more so of the priority than anything else. And, I mean, honestly, I've been motivated to do it. I've actually, kind of playing, going into the vault and getting some old episodes and just putting it out there just to have content going, which I might still do anyway, because honestly, I think right now it's been tough. The hardest part about doing the show is that, okay, even if I make the time like right now to do the show, it's probably easier for me to do solo shows like this than getting guests. I hate having to get a guest locked in and then I have to reschedule or postpone or cancel shows because of my schedule. Because I don't know what day, what comes up next in terms of, if the kids aren't, following the guidelines of bedtime, and I book a show at 10 o'clock at night time and my kid isn't asleep yet. Oh, that pushes 30 minutes behind and 20 minutes. That wears on you. It's actually easier for me to do a show during the day, but it's harder to do that during the day during the summer when my kids are home from school and I gotta put time into him, which, by the way, I'm not complaining about, just for the record. I'm not complaining about that because that's a priority. That's most important, So I'm not complaining about that, but most of the pods I've done, and I do, are normally during the day. But it's a lot more challenging in the summertime. So, I mean, it's what it is. I'm just I'm gonna do what I can to survive through the summer. You might be seeing a lot more. You may be seeing probably for the next month or two solo podcasts, and that's it until we get to August. I don't know. We'll see. If I can carve out time to do stuff, and somehow squeeze in some guests to come on the show, I will definitely do that. I mean, I like to have the mixture of both. The mixture of I love doing the solo pods like this. But I also don't want to stop doing guests. I love the conversation on the back and forth, So I had an episode planned on Monday with Mark Francois, but I had to cancel that because, number one, well, first off, we were going to do a show, but it would have been done over the phone, so the quality would have been a lot shittier. Which, okay, fine. Well, it's better than nothing. But then I had to cancel the show because I ended up working later than I anticipated, which good for me. Money's good, but I had to work later. So anyway, I'm actually drinking this Bubbly. My wife has a seltzer. She tries a seltzing sparkling water. She buys cool bubbly. Is it Bubbly or bubbly? Bubbly. Drink grapefruit flavor. It's really good actually. Anyway, NBA season's done. It's done, but it's not done. Anthony Davis gets traded to the Lakers. The Warriors have their injury issues. Kevin Durant out for the year, next year. Klay Thompson torn ACL in Game 6 of the Finals. Which, by the way, I didn't do anything on the Finals. I did stuff on the Unfiltered pod. You can check it out, of course, on iTunes and all that. I did stuff on the NBA quick reaction pods on that feed. This one obviously didn't do anything on the NBA Finals. And I dropped the ball here on this side. So this is my first reaction on this podcast to the NBA Finals since it ended. Teams do smell blood in the water because the Warriors will not be the same team next year, regardless of where Kevin Durant goes. Even if Kevin Durant decides to opt out his deal and go elsewhere, or in Klay Thompson, both guys aren't playing next year. Certainly Kevin Durant's not playing next year, but Klay Thompson almost surely not playing next year either. 20 ACL, that's a 12-month injury. Teams fall under water. So teams have gotten a little more aggressive when it comes to trades and whatnot. Obviously, we'll see things happen in free agency probably in the next couple weeks. Teams might load up. Lakers, for all their issues they've had, in the last couple months, since the season ended, with LeBron missed the playoffs for the first time in 13 years, Magic Johnson quitting abruptly and then calling out the Lakers brass. They get arguably a top 5 player in the league, Anthony Davis. Now, people say they gave a lot for him. Certainly, I can see that argument, but at the same time, it does cost a lot for a top 5 player. Again, I'm not going to defend the Lakers here and what they did. I'm just saying to folks that a top 5 player is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So you can't sit there and just, microscope all this. If this is what it took for the Pelicans to make a deal for Davis, then so be it. Okay? Right now you're playing with the LeBron window. The priority is to win now for the Lakers. Okay? And to me, if you ask me, and I always feel comfortable saying winners and losers because it's always the NBA. Well, that's really a sports talking point. Who won? Who lost? I mean, both sides, the Pelicans and Lakers, got what they wanted. The Pelicans are clearly rebuilding for the future. They get all the pieces necessary to do what they got to do. They have loads of options now going forward. They can certainly dump off more contracts. They have valuable players on the roster. Oh, by the way, they're also drafting Zion Williamson tomorrow. Or today when this podcast comes out. The Pelicans are in a great position for the next 5-6 years. Assuming things work out. The Lakers, they get a piece that they can build around for the next. Well, to be honest with you, as LeBron gets older, you now have a guy like Anthony Davis who will still be in his prime of his career, assuming he's healthy, of course, which is not at this point. That's not easy to assume anymore because he can't stay healthy to save his life. But when he's healthy, he's certainly a top 3, 5. I would say top 3 player in the league. But the Lakers are playing under the LeBron window. So for all the talk about youth movements and certainly that would have been the case. But once you get LeBron James at 34 years old, who'll be 35 this year, you're playing under his window, His window right now is probably, if I had to guess, well, first off, he has 3 more years in his contract, although the third year is a player option, which, depending how he is by year 4, we'll see how that goes. But it's the Lakers' window is realistically 2 years with LeBron. So with the Warriors, with their issues, and obviously not having Durant, not having Clay next year, regardless if they resign, there's blood in the water. It's wide open. Next year's wide open. So the Lakers did have to do. So the Lakers should be the favorites to win all next year by virtue of the acquisition. Now, obviously, how does this team build around? How the pieces fit? They still have another quote-unquote max spot, assuming Anthony Davis is flexible with his deal in terms of waiting till, I think, July 30th or whatever. If they wait till a certain date, Lakers can have upwards of $30 million in cap room. That's another complicated thing. I don't want to get into this today on this show, but it's out there. Obviously, ESPN's gone through that, and everybody's gone through that. But they do have space for another max player, or maybe can sign other multiple guys who bring depth to the team. I don't know. But the Lakers, they did what they felt necessary had to do. You're playing under LeBron's timing here, which is going to be about 2 years. And if there's a chance LeBron James win a title again before he retires, next year is the best chance. Because although there are a lot of good teams in the league, although you have Toronto who won the title this year, congratulations to the Raptors, of course, you still have a lot of teams that are still in limbo. The West isn't that scary. I mean, the Rockets are still going to be pretty good still, assuming they get their shit together. I mean, obviously the Chris Paul, James Harden dynamic, obviously certainly is there's some turmoil there. D'Antoni's coaching right now, lame duck next year. But outside of Rockets, who scares you in the West, really? I mean, Portland's good, but they don't scare you. Denver's a great roster, but they don't have a superstar. I mean, you got Jokic, but he's not going to... I mean, Jokic is Anthony Davis. Come on. There isn't a team in the West that scares you. So, assuming the Lakers stay healthy, next year, and assuming they get the right pieces around LeBron and Davis, no question they should win the West next year. No question they should probably win the title next year. Because for the first time in 5 years, we're not saying, the Warriors are the favorites. The Warriors win it again this year. That's not the case anymore. So, it's going to be a fascinating year next year. I can't wait. I mean, it is sad, no Durant. It is sad, what happened to Clay. I'm not going to lie to you. But there's some intrigue to this year. And maybe the Warriors bought themselves more time. Maybe now with these injuries that... Because here's the thing with Kevin Durant now. Now that he's hurt, this is now his second major injury he's had in his career. Maybe he decides, instead of doing a one-on-one again, maybe it's a short-term deal. Maybe he does commit to getting the full 5-year max in Golden State because of the risk of injury. And maybe the Warriors, assuming Clay and Durant, if they resign, are close to who they were before the injuries. Maybe they can extend another additional 3 or 4 years of this dynasty by punting on the first year, which is next year, of course. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things out there. The window is so open right now for the Warriors and for the league right now. So many things can happen that can dictate where things go. Tomorrow night's a draft. It can be a lot of trades between now and then. It's gonna be it's a fascinating year. It's gonna be a fascinating year next year. The landscape is definitely, for the next calendar year, the landscape of the NBA is wide open, and I'm really excited about it. So, anyway, who else got traded today? I think Mike Conley got traded to Utah for pieces. Again, another team that Utah is right in the middle of the pack, Western Conference team. Again, when the Warriors are out of it now, team small blood. Utah got rid of, I think, Kyle Korver and Grayson Allen, a couple picks. And I believe also Jay Crowder. I mean, decent players, but Mike Conley, such one Mike Conley, overpriced contract he has. He's still a really good, underrated point guard. I'm a big fan of Mike Conley, and I think he'll help the Utah Jazz. Like, look at the lineup. You have the starting lineup right now. Assuming this roster should stay together, they got a starting lineup of Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell in the backcourt. You got Joe Ingles, Derek Favors, and Rudy Gobert. That's a solid. That's arguably a top 2 or 3 starting lineup in the West. right now. I mean, right now, honestly, that might be the best startup in the West by virtue of talent. Arguably, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying arguably. So, I don't know. Next year, wide open season. What else I want to talk about here? So, I think, I'm not sure it was one of the episodes here I did or not, but for the last few months, I have been obsessed with money management. As I get older, I'm turning 40 next year, I'm 39, yeah, I'm getting old, yay, gray my beard, all that. But I've really gotten almost obsessed with money management and the idea of preparing for the future and debt-free. I mean, I have some debt, obviously, but I don't have a lot of debt. My debt's not that big, but I'm obsessed with paying, not having part payments anymore, not having any sort of like dumb debt, credit card debt. I have like one credit card I have now, I just keep for emergencies. But I've always been fairly conservative when it comes to money for the most part, but not aggressive. And now, as I'm hitting 40 next year, you have 2 kids, obviously, as you get older, things stop working, I guess. I don't know. I'm not there yet, obviously, but you never know. I become more, let's just say, woke when it comes to, the idea of saving money, investing money, putting away for the future, putting away for my kids, and all that. I've also followed a lot of accounts on Instagram, a lot of debt-free community. I kind of got involved with that lately, and more so just to read some of the stories and the inspiring stories on there that people have. Who I see people there who have like $100,000 of debt, and they cleared up in 2 years. Some of them cleared up in. I saw a couple that cleared their debt in like 6 months, and I think they had $114,000 in debt apparently, and they cleared like in 6 to 7 months. Like, that's insane. I mean, obviously that requires aggressive spending, saving, aggressive, probably a lot of work and putting money away. I don't know. But it's very inspiring. And I've kind of gotten to that point now where I'm like becoming frugal. I've started to embrace a minimalistic lifestyle, where I don't value things anymore like I used to. I value experience now as opposed to that. There's a lot of regrets I have too also growing up because, when I was growing up as a kid, I didn't have much really, I mean, we had what we needed, but I wasn't afforded a lot of the, things that I could have gotten, nice things. So when naturally you get older, you make your own money, and you start to just, okay, well, I could have this when I was a kid, so now I can buy this now. So I didn't really appreciate, the opportunity of saving money as a kid because I figured, like, well, I got 30, 40 years of work ahead of me. Let me just live now and whatever. And then part of my biggest regret, my wife and I, biggest regret we have, still to this day, I think is we've been together 13 years and, we started, we've lived in probably about 5 different places maybe. I think about 5 different places, I believe. I remember one time in 2010, when the year we got engaged before we got married, we made a decision to move to Delray Beach. And it was just me and her. We didn't have kids yet. We're still 3 years away from having kids at the time. And we made a decision. Well, should I say I made a decision to, rent a 3-bedroom apartment. Now, this is not a big deal necessarily, but we're talking about a couple like her and I who, we wanted to do stuff, travel and whatnot, didn't do that. And a lot of the reasons why we didn't do that was because I was putting money into things that I really didn't need. There was no reason for me to decide to rent a 3-bedroom apartment when it's just me and her and 2 dogs. Okay? Really, to be honest, all you need is a 1-bedroom apartment. 2 is probably the limit. But a 3-bedroom apartment, and by the way, the 3rd bedroom, we rarely used it. So we wasted money on things that didn't matter. I wasted money on things that didn't matter. And all that extra money I was putting into the extra room, I could have saved that and put towards traveling. I mean, and now, here I am at 39 years old with 2 kids, who I love my life, obviously, but I don't have now I have the desires of going to travel more and do more vacationing and whatnot, and I can't do it because of the circumstances around me where I can't really leave my kids behind and all that. You know, the support system here is good, but not strong. So there's a lot of sacrifices that we make as a result. You know what I mean? So, and I go back to when I was 25, 26, 30, when we got married at 31. Even when we got married before we had kids, we still had opportunities to do things as a couple and experience things as a couple that we didn't do because I say we, but it's really me because I made decisions on a lot of that stuff, and I regret it. Putting money and putting monetary things into putting things into stuff instead of experiences, and now I'm regretting that now. So I've gotten pretty obsessed lately with money management and all that. So I don't know, man. I tell folks all the time, people who are younger than me, that talk to me about life. I love doing that. I love being able to give out, advice, give out my experiences. Because the best way you're gonna learn is from people who went through it before you. You know what I mean? So I always tell them, make sure you prioritize. Prioritize the experiences first. Money and things are satisfying only in the short term. You can never, memories will live forever, So, I know we'll probably end up doing a lot of traveling as the kids get older. They'll probably obviously join us a lot of these experiences and stuff, but I wish we could have done that beforehand. Now I regret it, big time. So, but, you live and learn, right? Another thing I discovered in the last couple of weeks, really, really cool. I have lost 15 pounds in the last year. Now, this was crazy. So, I haven't weighed myself in over a year. And, not really on purpose, any reason why I haven't done that. I just decided not to. We had a weight scale for a long time in my house, which broke about a year and a half ago, so we threw it away. And even when you go to a grocery store and you have a chance to weigh yourself, I don't really have time. If I go to a store with the kids, who has time to sit there and just weigh myself? And plus, I'm not really even thinking about that anyway, so there's no reason to do that. But in the last couple months, people would see me, like people in my family who see me, who haven't seen them in a few months prior to that, they said I've lost some weight. I look great. I've lost some weight, which I'm thinking, well, you're probably just trolling me, not really, And I haven't really done much, honestly. I've made subtle adjustments in the last year to my eating. I haven't really worked out much. I do walk more now. Like, I try to walk in the morning with the kids, do like a couple of laps around my lake, just little things, really, just to kind of keep, really for them, to get them out of the house. And it's good for me to some degree. I benefit too on that. But I haven't really made big adjustments to my eating, honestly. I still drink too much sodas. I need to stop that. I don't have any vices at all, to be honest with you. I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I don't smoke, none of that. Sodas is still the one vice I still have a hard time stopping, because it's the one thing I still, if I order wings or pizzas, for example, during football season, or even when sports are on, I always have that tendency to drop back and drink sodas. It's not good for me. I get that. And I'm trying to curb that, which is why I'm drinking this bubbly right here. The Grapefruit Bubbly next to me in the studio. You can't see it now, but it's here. But I have made some subtle adjustments in the last year. I've pretty much stopped fried foods for the most part. I've cut way back on that. If anything, I haven't eaten fried chicken in so long, for example. I haven't eaten any fried foods really much. I can probably count on one hand in the last calendar year how many times I've eaten fried food. So I think that's helped a lot. So like, I don't eat a lot of fries. I don't eat a lot of fast food. I'll get it rarely. If I take the kids to McDonald's for fries, whatever, it's one thing. But I don't get a lot of fast food. So I've made subtle adjustments. I drink a lot of water still, which is good. So then I was at work about 2 weeks ago, and my buddy of mine had I guess he's doing a competition, a weight loss competition with another coworker, and he had the scale on him at work, which is, that's very, very random, of course. So I decided to just weigh myself because I was just sitting there like, okay. Now, I've weighed 245 pretty much for the last 4 to 5 years. I've been between 245 and 249, up and down around that area for the last couple of years. So I weighed myself in a year, like I said. So I jump on the scale, and lo and behold, I'm 230. And I asked him, is this thing really, you sure this is adjusted? He goes, yeah, it's adjusted. I weigh 230 right now. I've lost 15 pounds in the last year, and I didn't even know it. But I probably should have figured it out by people making comments saying I've lost weight, which I didn't even realize. And so I thought people were just trolling me, but people keep saying I've lost, I look good, and whatnot. And like I said, I made subtle adjustments, but nothing over the top. I'm not dieting. I'm not, like I said, I'm still drinking sodas, but I need to stop doing anyway. And I've done more walking, and I've stopped fried foods and whatnot. I don't order as much junk food as I used to. So I mean, but those things were done subtly. It wasn't something I just did, on purpose. I just subtly just took those things out of my stomach, out of my diet, and lo and behold, 15 pounds. So imagine if I actually tried hard. I probably lost a double that or triple that, But it's actually real nice to know that randomly, that happened. So that's really cool, man. That's really, really, really cool. All right. I also, in the last couple weeks, my wife and I had binged HBO's Chernobyl. Chernobyl, of course, is the documentary on HBO, 5-part documentary that discusses or covers the catastrophic nuclear power plant disaster that happened in I think it's the Ukraine. I think it happened in Ukraine in 1986. I've known about Chernobyl for years, but I did not know the details. Now there are fictional stories within the non-fictional event in the HBO, but it does what the idea of the show is to do is to show you the impact of how it impacted people who lived in that area from the time until years later. It shows you also the government's involvement and the corruptness of the corruption of the government. Back when the USSR was still in command, Mikhail Gorbachev has said on record, and I agree, that you can argue that the Chernobyl disaster was pretty much the end of the beginning and the end of the USSR when it disbanded in 1991. So you're looking at a 5-year gap between the time Chernobyl happened and USSR, pretty much went to shit. I agree with him there too. But just the stories and the layout of this show, it's 1 hour, roughly an hour, maybe a little bit more than an hour per episode, depending on each one. It's a phenomenal miniseries. It's one of the best things HBO has done in quite a while. And obviously I'm not knocking Game of Thrones. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, in terms of new, miniseries and new material, they've hit on the park on this one. Now, some people don't like it. Of course, not for them. When people have watched it, they've loved it. I highly recommend it. Chernobyl on HBO. Again, there's actually another documentary I think also, I believe on Hulu, talking about the event and whatnot. But it's just fascinating to see how the impact, and even now, over 30 years later, it is still contaminated, that area. It's still contaminated. Like, you can't go there. You can go there, but you probably, be at risk. And how many deaths have, that's happened because of this event. And the deaths you're seeing deaths they can't even mark. So there's a lot of deaths that they still can't even confirm. The rise of cancer, because of this thing. It's just crazy. And we watched it in a couple days. It was intense. They showed some visuals of people going through, who were the most exposed to the radiation. It's just insane. And really the details of learning about it. Like I said, I knew about the event. I didn't know the impact. Well, I knew some of the impact from a mainstream point of view, but to hear the details of the stories and even the depicted fictional stories that they try to just so they can make you understand what really happened and the impact of it. Wow, I mean, it's very powerful. It was very powerful. But I enjoyed it though. It was really, really good, good television too. You know, and like I said, HBO, Chernobyl, definitely highly recommended by me. So, all right. Last thing before I go, this past Sunday was Father's Day. This is technically my 6th Father's Day. And this year was good. It was kind of cool. Although I had to work this year, which honestly, that's my fault. I actually requested to work because I volunteered to work. But it was cool. We were able to, my wife and I both worked, and then we were able to go out and have dinner. We went to Texas Roadhouse with my mother-in-law and my kids. It was good. I'll be honest, I splurged this time. I typically don't like to splurge on restaurants. I tend to just be conservative. I don't waste a lot of money on eating out, but we don't eat out much anymore because again, one of the reasons why I lost weight, I think also is that I don't eat out as much. I cook more at home. But we splurged a little bit this time around. Got steak, got ribs, all that. I was so full after it. Had a good time. My kids got me a couple of pop figures, a Prince pop figure, and then a Dr. Cox and Turk figure from Scrubs, which is really, really cool. It's actually sitting here in my studio. But it was a good day. And again, Father's Day, it's my 6-1. I'll be honest with you, I still, and it's gonna sound really corny, but I still pinch myself that I'm a father. Like, I remember, I go back to 2011, 2010, even before I started dating my wife. I didn't imagine myself having kids, honestly. I got to a point in my life in my mid-20s where I was okay with being single and just being in a band and trying to, tour the world and all that. I didn't think about having children, really. I'm not saying I didn't want it, it's just I just didn't think it would ever happen to me because, I was picky. As a guy, I was picky about who I wanted to be with, and, I'm pretty conservative about that kind of stuff. And I value my alone time also, too. So, but to go from then to now, I do sometimes still pinch myself and slap myself like, wow, I'm a dad. I'm a dad. But it's something I take seriously now, especially, a lot of dads get bad raps. Some do, some deserve it, some don't, I know I'm doing my job. Could I be better? Absolutely. There's a lot of things I could definitely, improve as a father. But I think being involved with my kids and being there as much as I am, I think I'm already winning from that aspect because, I love my dad to death, but my dad wasn't the same. My dad was a weekend dad, so I didn't have him every day, because my parents get married, so that wasn't going to happen. And that's the way it was, I don't ever make excuses for my father and the lifestyle, and no, it's nothing, no harm, no foul there. But it's definitely the opposite of what I was raised in. I've always said that I wanted to do the opposite of that. I wanted to be the guy that has his wife, then gets married, then has his kids, and have my family dynamic. And I'm doing that, And look, it's not easy. It's not easy to keep all together. Marriage is a lot of work. Parenting is a lot of work. It just is one of those things where you have to just, you work hard at this stuff. You work hard at I tell folks, man, people put too much priorities on the wedding and, when the marriage is more important, and you get divorced and you waste all this money on a wedding for what? For parties, for other people? No. The idea is to invest in your marriage, in the person you're marrying and the person you're uniting with. Screw the wedding, you know what I mean? A lot of folks today have that shit twisted. They got it twisted. Same parenting too. You're not having kids just to show off your kids on Facebook. You're raising a person to invest in, to put into the world. And again, I'm not tooting my own horn here because I have a lot of flaws as a husband, as a father. But I think overall I'm still winning because the fact I have my family together and we're still making it work. My marriage being 8 years later, plus dating 13 years, then my being a father 6 years in a row, and and being able to raise two wonderful boys, and hopefully they become great pillars of society. I feel like I'm winning. So we just keep trucking, keep pushing. So. Anyway, I think I'll just do it. I think we're about 35 minutes into the podcast. We'll call it a day. Like I said, sorry for the little 2-week delay. Sorry for no guests. I do have a lot of plans though for this podcast this summer. Hopefully, I'm gonna do a couple of one-offs also on. I want to do a episode, sometime in July probably. There was something that happened with Metallica. In Kerrang! Magazine, I think yesterday, where the magazine put out their 10 most underrated songs. So it prompted the idea in my head to actually do an episode where I do what I think is Metallica's 10 most underrated songs from my perspective. So we may do an episode of that in the next week or so. Hopefully, maybe this weekend I'll do it. I record this weekend. We'll see what happens. And I'll probably give up my 10 most underrated Metallica songs. But things like that. Things like, music stuff and all that. So anyway, it's getting late. Well, it's really late. It's almost 12:30 night time. Till next time, love you guys and see you.